What if I told you that for less than the price of a brand new economy car, you could own a diesel truck that'll outlast most modern vehicles and potentially clock over 500,000 miles? While everyone's chasing shiny new trucks with six-figure price tags, smart buyers are scooping up proven diesel workhorses for under $15,000 that could serve them for decades. Before we dive into which trucks can actually deliver on this promise, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. I want to hear from you in the comments. Which diesel truck are you driving right now? And what's been your biggest maintenance challenge with it? Your experience could help someone else make a better buying decision. Let's get real about something most people don't understand. Diesel engines aren't just different from gas engines, they're built for an entirely different purpose. While your average gas engine might start showing its age around 200,000 miles, a well-maintained diesel is just getting broken in at that point. The reason comes down to how these engines work. Diesel engines use compression ignition rather than spark plugs, which means they're built with much heavier-duty components. The blocks are thicker, the pistons are stronger, and the rotating assembly can handle tremendous stress. This isn't marketing hype, it's engineering reality. These trucks were designed from the ground up to pull heavy loads day after day, year after year, and that same durability translates into incredible longevity for regular drivers. The magic number we're chasing is 500,000 miles, and it's not a fantasy. Thousands of diesel truck owners have pushed their vehicles past this milestone, and many keep going well beyond. The key is knowing which specific trucks and engines have proven themselves over decades of real-world use. Your $15,000 budget opens the door to some legendary powertrains, but you need to know exactly what you're looking for. The Dodge Ram 2500 with the 5.9-liter Cummins turbo diesel. When diesel enthusiasts talk about bulletproof engines, the conversation always starts here. Built from 1998 through 2007, the second-generation Dodge Ram equipped with the 5.9-liter Cummins inline-six is perhaps the most legendary diesel engine ever put in a consumer truck. This isn't just reputation. It's backed by countless real-world examples of these trucks sailing past 500,000 miles and continuing strong. The Cummins earned its reputation through simple, robust engineering. This is an inline-six configuration, which means it has inherently better balance than a V-configuration engine, resulting in less vibration and stress on components. The engine produces massive torque, often over 300 pound-feet even in stock form, which means it never has to strain when towing or hauling. What makes this truck especially attractive in the used market is how straightforward it is to maintain and repair. The 5.9 Cummins uses a mechanical injection pump in earlier models and a more reliable electronic system in later ones, but both are known for durability. Parts are everywhere because these trucks sold in huge numbers, and there's an entire industry built around keeping them running. You'll find these trucks in your $15,000 budget, usually with higher mileage. But don't let 200 or even 300,000 miles scare you off. If the truck has been maintained properly, you're looking at a vehicle with potentially another 200,000 miles of life ahead of it. The Dodge chassis itself is the weak point compared to the engine, so pay attention to transmission condition, suspension wear, and rust. But that Cummins engine will likely outlast everything around it. Ford F-250 and F-350 Super Duty with the 7.3-liter Power Stroke. If the Cummins is legendary, the 7.3-liter Power Stroke is mythical. Produced from 1994 through 2003, this engine represents Ford's golden era of diesel reliability. Before Ford started getting fancy with more advanced emissions equipment and complex systems, they built this absolute tank of an engine that simply refuses to die. The 7.3 Power Stroke is a V8 configuration built by International Harvester, a company with decades of experience building heavy-duty diesel engines for commercial trucks. This thing was overbuilt from the start. Walk into any diesel mechanic shop and ask them what engine they'd want in their own truck, and you'll hear 7.3 over and over again. The reason is simple reliability. These engines used a HEUI fuel system, which stands for hydraulically actuated electronically controlled unit injector. And while that sounds complex, it's actually quite robust. The engine produces strong power, typically around 250 horsepower and over 500 pound-feet of torque, in later models, which is more than enough for serious work. What really matters is that these trucks can absorb neglect better than almost any other diesel. That doesn't mean you should neglect maintenance, but it means if the previous owner missed an oil change or two, you're probably still okay. Finding an F250 or F350 Super Duty with the 7.3 under $15,000 is absolutely doable. And you're getting a truck with legendary status for good reason. The Super Duty chassis is also more robust than the Dodge of the same era. So you're getting a complete package that can handle abuse. These trucks are so reliable that many are still working as commercial vehicles, hauling equipment, pulling trailers, and doing the job they were built for 20-plus years after rolling off the assembly line. Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD and GMC Sierra 2500 HD with the 6.6-liter Duramax. General Motors entered the heavy-duty diesel market later than Ford and Dodge, but when they finally brought out the Duramax in 2001, they brought serious competition. The 6.6-liter Duramax turbo diesel, built in partnership with Isuzu, offered more modern performance than the older Cummins and Power Stroke engines of its time. The early Duramax engines, particularly the LB7 from 2001 through 2004 and the LLY from 2004 through 2006, have proven themselves capable of incredible longevity when maintained properly. The Duramax differs from the Cummins and Power Stroke in several ways. It's a V8 configuration, and it uses more advanced common rail fuel injection, which provides better fuel economy and smoother power delivery than the older injection systems. The downside is that common rail systems are more complex and potentially more expensive to repair if something goes wrong. But the upside is impressive performance and efficiency. These trucks produce strong power, often over 300 horsepower and over 500 pound-feet of torque, making them excellent tow vehicles. Where you need to be careful with the early Duramax engines is the injector system. The LB7 model in particular had issues with injectors failing, which is an expensive repair. However, if you're looking at a truck where the injectors have already been replaced, you're likely in good shape. The Allison automatic transmission paired with these engines is one of the best in the business, far superior to the automatics offered in Dodge trucks of the same era. Finding a Silverado or Sierra 2500 HD with the Duramax under $15,000 usually means looking at trucks from the early to mid-2000s with higher mileage. But if you find one that's been well cared for, you're getting a truck with excellent potential to reach 500,000 miles. Understanding why these specific engines last, the common thread between all these trucks is that they use diesel engines designed primarily for commercial and industrial use, then adapted for consumer trucks. This is the opposite of how most vehicle development works. Usually, manufacturers build a consumer engine first, then maybe toughen it up for commercial use. With these diesels, the heavy-duty capability came first, and that fundamental overbuilding is why they last so long. The engine blocks are cast iron, extremely thick and resistant to warping or cracking. The internal components like pistons, rods, and crankshafts are built to withstand the incredible pressures generated by compression ignition. The cooling systems are oversized to prevent overheating even under sustained heavy loads. Another crucial factor is the relative simplicity of these older diesel engines compared to modern ones. Before strict emissions regulations forced manufacturers to add complex systems like diesel particulate filters, selective catalytic reduction, and exhaust gas recirculation in their current forms, These engines were mechanically straightforward. Fewer systems mean fewer things that can break, and the systems they do have are proven and well understood by mechanics everywhere. This makes repairs cheaper and easier, which means owners are more likely to actually fix problems rather than letting them compound into major failures. The aftermarket support for these engines cannot be overstated. Because so many were built, and they've proven so reliable, entire industries exist to supply parts, upgrades, and expertise. You can find rebuild kits, upgraded turbos, improved injection pumps, and every sensor, gasket, and bolt you might ever need. This ecosystem keeps these trucks on the road long after more obscure or less popular models have disappeared. What you must check before buying. Finding the right truck is only half the battle. Knowing what to look for when you're inspecting a potential purchase is crucial. Service history is your most important tool. A diesel truck with complete maintenance records, showing regular oil changes, fuel filter replacements, and timely repairs is worth significantly more than one without documentation, even if both trucks appear identical. Diesel engines demand proper maintenance more than gas engines, and seeing proof that the previous owner understood this dramatically reduces your risk. Rust is the silent killer of older trucks, and it's especially problematic in areas where roads are salted in winter. Get under the truck and inspect the frame carefully. Surface rust is normal and expected, but look for areas where the frame has rusted through or developed significant scaling. The rear crossmember and areas around the spare tire are particularly vulnerable. Cab corners and wheel wells also rust on these trucks, and while body rust can be repaired, frame rust compromises structural integrity. Start the engine cold if possible, and watch for excessive smoke. A little white smoke on a cold start is normal for diesels, but thick black smoke or smoke that continues after the engine warms up indicates problems. Listen carefully for unusual noises, knocking, rattling, or anything that sounds abnormal. Diesel engines are naturally louder than gas engines, but you should hear a consistent rhythmic sound, not random banging or clattering. Check all the fluids. The oil should look like oil, not like a chocolate milkshake, which would indicate coolant intrusion. The coolant should be clean and the proper color, not rusty or full of oil. Test drive the truck and pay attention to how the transmission shifts. The automatic transmission should shift smoothly without harsh engagement or hesitation. If it's a manual transmission, the clutch should engage progressively without slipping or chattering. The truck should pull straight without wandering, and the steering shouldn't have excessive play. These are work trucks, so some looseness is normal, but it shouldn't feel dangerous. Check that four-wheel drive engages properly if equipped. The injection system deserves special attention because it's one of the most expensive things to repair on a diesel. Ask specifically about injection pump or injector replacement history. On the Cummins trucks, listen for a phenomenon called injection pump death rattle, which sounds like marbles in a can from the front of the engine. On Duramax trucks, ask if the injectors have been replaced and get documentation if possible. On Power Stroke trucks, check for oil leaks around the high-pressure oil pump and injectors. Perhaps most importantly, get a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic who specializes in diesel trucks. This will cost you a couple $100s, but it can save you from buying a truck with hidden problems that would cost thousands to fix. A good diesel mechanic can spot issues that you'd never notice, and they can give you a realistic assessment of what repairs might be needed in the near future. Setting realistic expectations. Let's be clear about something important. Buying a used diesel truck under $15,000 means you're buying an older vehicle with significant mileage. These trucks can absolutely reach 500,000 miles, but they won't do it without ongoing maintenance and occasional repairs. You're not buying a brand new truck with a warranty. You're buying a proven platform that requires attention and care. Budget for maintenance and unexpected repairs. Even the most reliable diesel engine needs regular oil changes, fuel filter replacements, And eventually things like water pumps, alternators, and starter motors will need replacement. The good news is that parts for these trucks are relatively affordable compared to newer diesels, and the labor to install them is straightforward enough that many owners do their own work. The online communities around these specific trucks are incredibly helpful, with forums full of people who've solved every problem imaginable and are willing to share their knowledge. You're not alone in maintaining these trucks. You're joining a community of enthusiasts and working truck owners who keep these legends running. Your $15,000 investment can absolutely get you a truck that'll serve you for many years and hundreds of thousands of miles. But success requires making a smart buying decision up front and committing to proper care afterward. These trucks reward owners who treat them right with almost unbelievable longevity and reliability. Here's what you need to understand about the used diesel truck market right now. These legendary models are becoming harder to find in good condition because people who own them tend to keep them. The secret is getting out, and prices have been climbing steadily over the past few years. That said, $15,000 still gets you into the game if you're patient and willing to look carefully. The Dodge Ram with the 5.9 Cummins, the Ford Super Duty with the 7.3 Power Stroke, and the Chevy or GMC with the early Duramax represent your best opportunities to own a diesel truck that can genuinely reach 500,000 miles without requiring an engine rebuild. These aren't just trucks. They're investments in capability and longevity that modern vehicles simply can't match. While new trucks come loaded with technology and comfort features, they also come with complexity that makes them expensive to maintain and difficult to repair. These older diesels offer something increasingly rare: simplicity, durability, and the potential to keep running long after their purchase price has been forgotten. If you found this information helpful, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me which of these trucks you'd choose and why. Don't forget to subscribe, because we're always bringing you real-world vehicle advice that can save you money and help you make better decisions. Thanks for watching, and good luck finding your legendary diesel truck.